Perched atop thousands of New York City rooftops, silhouetted against the sunset, stand squat, barrel-like structures that seem to belong to a bygone era. To the casual observer, these wooden tanks appear to be nostalgic relics of the 19th century, oddly out of place on top of modern glass and steel skyscrapers. However, these water towers are not merely decorative antiques. They are a critical piece of infrastructure that makes life in the vertical city possible. The history of these iconic tanks began in the late 1800s as New York started building vertically. While the advent of the safety elevator allowed for taller structures, the city's municipal water pressure was, and still is, only sufficient to push water up about 6 floors, or roughly 60 to 75 feet. The necessity of these towers is dictated by simple physics. New York City's municipal water supply relies on gravity to travel from upstate reservoirs to the 5 boroughs. By the time this water reaches the city, it has enough natural pressure to rise only about 6 stories off the ground. As the city began to grow vertically in the late 1800s, engineers faced a problem: how to get water to the 7th floor and beyond. To solve this, property owners turned to the expertise of coopers, or barrel makers, to build elevated rooftop reservoirs. The mechanics of these towers rely on basic physics. An electric pump, typically located in a building's basement, draws water from city mains and pushes it up to the rooftop tank. Once stored there, gravity takes over, providing the hydrostatic pressure needed to distribute water to every unit below. This natural force is sufficient to feed the water down into the building's pipes and reach every shower, toilet, and sink, regardless of height. These wooden tanks hold up to 10,000 gallons. The mechanism is surprisingly simple. To manage supply, the tanks function much like a giant toilet tank. When the water level drops, a float valve or electronic sensor triggers the basement pumps to refill the container. This solution is remarkably consistent. Every foot of elevation adds approximately 0.43 psi of pressure. This elegant system requires no constant electricity and provides emergency fire suppression backup. It is more practical for New York City's old infrastructure than modern pumps. The necessity of these towers was further cemented by fire safety laws enacted after the tragic 1911 Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire, which required buildings to have a reliable, gravity-fed water supply for sprinkler systems. These barrel-shaped structures, held by steel hoops, are constructed by specialized tankmen and are maintained through regular cleaning and inspections. Most of the city's 10,000 to 17,000 tanks are constructed from untreated cedar or redwood planks held together solely by the tension of galvanized steel hoops. The most common question concerning these towers is why, in an age of advanced materials, they are still constructed from wood. The answer lies in insulation and efficiency. New York experiences distinct seasons, from freezing winters to sweltering summers. A steel tank would turn into a block of ice in January and a boiling cauldron in July, requiring expensive artificial insulation. Wood is the preferred material because it is a superior natural insulator. 3 inches of lumber provides insulation equivalent to 24 inches of concrete. The The thick planks of yellow cedar used in modern tanks keep the water from freezing or overheating without external energy. Furthermore, wood is cost-effective. A wooden tank costs roughly $30,000 and can be assembled in under 24 hours, whereas a steel alternative could cost 4 times as much and take weeks to install. The construction relies on a centuries-old coopering technique. The tanks are not held together by glue or nails. Instead, the wooden staves are held in place by galvanized steel hoops. They leak initially, but swell to become watertight. When water fills the tank, the wood expands, creating a watertight seal. The history of these towers is largely the history of 3 family-owned companies: Rosenwach Tank, Essex Brothers, and American Pipe and Tank. The Rosenwach Tank Company, famous for its iconic R logo, visible on many tanks, traces its roots to 1866. A barrel maker named William Dalton hired Harris Rosenwach, who eventually bought the company for $55 in 1896. Today, Rosenwach and Essex Brothers remain the primary builders of the estimated 10,000 to 17,000 tanks scattered across the skyline. Far from being obsolete, these wooden sentinels are a perfect marriage of form and function, a 19th century solution that remains the most efficient way to hydrate a 21st century metropolis. Today, they are cherished cultural icons, acting as witnesses to the city's architectural evolution. While modern sources emphasize that regular maintenance is essential to prevent sediment buildup and bacteria, these towers remain a model of sustainable, gravity-driven engineering.